A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review right here at Prime Media TV. I am Ayo bringing you the newspaper review. And today we are looking at cholera outbreak in Lagos. Lagos cholera outbreak. Government's neglect claim lives of many. And I think back to back for the past 3 to 4 days, cholera, it has been confirmed that cholera has killed 15 persons in Lagos, and about 350 cases has been recorded so far of people who has been infected with this with the outbreak of cholera. And only in Lagos, about 15 people died already. And this outbreak is not limited to the Lagos residents. We record cases in Bauchi State, we record cases in Sokoto, and also some other part of Nigeria. But then the Ministry of Health in Lagos has said that they've confirmed 17 cases. We can actually not tell if it is 17 cases exactly because of the surveillance issues that we have in Nigeria. There are the people who are really affected by these things. Most of them are in the rural area, and you see that sometimes there is no enough media coverage to cover these cases this case in this rural area. But according to the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, he disclosed while speaking on steps taken to control the outbreak in Lagos, and he revealed that 350 cases of cholera has been suspected in 29 wards across multiple local governments in Lagos State, with 17 confirmed cases and 15 fatalities so far, the ministry said on Saturday. So here is the conversation we are having on the cause of cholera outbreak. The last time we recorded cases of cholera in Lagos was in 2013, 2014. But then it is coming back now, and it is making Nigerians to wonder what exactly is the real cause of this cholera outbreak again in Lagos. So here is the conversation, and joining me on the conversation today is my co-host who will also be analyzing this session with me, the person of Nwachukwu Treasure. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So very quickly, I would like that we dive into this conversation. At some point I became really afraid because back to back, especially on Saturday, I had conversations with people on cholera. I think I spoke about two nurses from different general hospital in Lagos, and they confirmed that they are recording cases of cholera back to back in their hospital, and it is making us to wonder. So I would like to hear your thoughts on what exactly could have been the root cause beyond all these things that people are saying, the root cause of this cholera.
Okay. Thank God you mentioned the root cause. Certain things are not supposed to be happening in some certain places. A place as developed as Lagos State shouldn't be undergoing or experiencing a widespread of a situation like a cholera. Talking about the root cause, over time, ever since the emergence of this administration, the people has been crying for hunger. People have been crying for hunger. And they say when the desirable is not available, the available becomes desirable. All right, if you go to the market now, people can no longer afford what they used to afford. People can no longer have access to good tomato. We're in a festive period now. People must make stew. People must cook that and everything. You must cook. You must make your stew. Now, what is the state of the tomatoes people are now using to cook? What about the water aspect of it's quite unfortunate that as developed and in this current era of Nigeria that we're experiencing something like cholera. Now, sometimes this thing is caused by contaminated water.
Yeah.
Now, a bottled water in Nigeria today is 200 naira. 2 sachets water in Nigeria today is 15 naira. Now, it has made people to resort to what they can afford. At least if they cannot drink bottled water, they can drink well water or tap water. how sometimes this tap water are closed. This water, no, no, whether the well or borehole are close to soccerways. So now the fact that it's a tap water does not make it hygiene. Now people, so long some people feel like so long it's clean. Sometimes you hear something people say water no get enemy. They think that water doesn't kill, but it actually can accumulate an illness that can kill. All right. So to me, I feel that this spread of cholera or this outbreak of cholera in Lagos State is one of the failed parts of the government. Now, things to coming during the administration of Ambode in Lagos State, he created an initiative called the Greener Lagos or Cleaner Lagos. We discovered that that thing was working. There was almost every bus stop you see waste baskets. It was working. It was working. And you see, it released a lot of evacuating van. This thing was working. And we discovered that truly Lagos was experiencing a new system whereby everywhere there were people to sweep the road, go to almost all the bus stop. If you're able to, if you're opportune to pass through Ibejuleki Axis, this new road, you see at the bus stop, you see this Loma van overfilled.
Yeah.
All right. Now you see sometimes if you have gone to Aja, you see around where this waste, this refuse are packed, people are selling there.
Of course.
Food, flies are perching on those things and perching on the food, and people are eating it. And people will just have to buy it because sometimes these things are the things the masses can afford. All right. So I believe that if the government has done the needful, people have been crying for food every day. Food is an essential, is a primary need. A man, whether young or old, must eat every day to be able to have energy to go out for anything. Even the city, just imagine a country that is paying their workers 62,000. What can they afford? What can they afford to buy? With that amount. Now, talking about the spread, we have about 350 cases, and we'll have just 29 wards. Just 29 words. Now, just like you said earlier, that it's possible for the figure we are hearing as regard the people that have died already, or even the figure the figure of the cases we are recording, it might be more than what we are hearing, because not enough media to reach out to some of these people, and not everyone would they even have the mind to go to hospital for checkup to know what is wrong with them. So many people die today without going to the hospital because they can't afford going to the hospital.
Of course.
So it's a problem, and this I link this to the failed aspect of the government in providing to the people the things their essential need.
You see, the first thing that came to my mind is, you see, you discover that the people who are infected with cholera, they are not the rich.
Never.
They are not the middle class.
You can't be living in Ikoyi and be talking of cholera.
Exactly. So the people who are involved in these cases are people living in slums, and you discover that it is not like people don't want to live in good places. People want to live in good places, but when you look at it, the price to get an accommodation in a good place is very expensive. Just look at some of these plank buildings that was recently demolished in Lagos. They were paying 250,000 naira per room under the bridge. So if there had been affordable houses, they wouldn't be living in that place. And definitely, that's where they do their cooking, that's where they do their eating, that's where they do their drinking. And if you are to look at this breakdown, by the time you consider the amount you'll be spending on, if in an average Nigerian home now, let's say you have a slightly comfortable place to live in, you can't, if you want to make a good meal, you'll be spending nothing less than 15-20K to make a good meal, because the price of tomato in the market is not friendly. You say if you want to buy 3 seed of tomato, maybe they sell for like 500 naira. At mass, they sell small seed that is not ripe enough. They sell for 500 naira. And Nigerians are like, we have to subsidize. You cannot spend all this money. Before you know it, there's something the Yoruba call Esha tomato. The rotten tomato, the rotten pepper. And near looking at this rotten tomato and pepper, you'll be like, is it human being?
Sometimes you see
maggots coming out of it. They'll be like, we'll wash it. They will wash it out, squeeze it very well, blend it, and they resolve to eating it. Sometimes you see that because this thing is rotting already, it is no longer healthy, and they have to eat it for like maybe 3 4 days because they have to manage it and eat it. Then when you consider water, a bag of pure water now is 300 naira, and they'll be like, this 300 naira, we can actually save it up to cook another meal so that we can survive. Because the thought in the heart of Nigeria now is how to
Survivor.
survive every day, not weekly survivor, but everyday survivor. Then instead of drinking 15 naira pure water, they would resolve to fetching well water. And we can see that we can trace cholera down to contaminated water.
Sure.
Well water is not healthy enough. Forget about some of these things that they say in the olden days, they drink well water. That is how our forefathers
I
survived.
say some
In
of
the
the
days
well
of
are
our
even close to
forefathers,
soak away.
you see all these green algae in the well. And we all know the health repercussion of green algae. And with these things, we'll just shift it. And this thing that they tell us that we should always boil our water before drinking. So yeah, let's boil it. We'll shift it. And on the long run, you see that even the cloths they are using to sieve this water, the cloths
Dirty.
are very dirty. So after drinking it, how do you expect people not to have cholera? Now, for people who say that they cannot spend too much money on cooking food, they resolve to buying food outside. And most times, I think I have a personal experience where I went to get food somewhere, and the woman used the spoon she wanted to use to put the stew. She used it to pick out an ant out of the soup, and she put it inside the food. Since that day, I said, I'm not going to go to them. I'm not. This is a place that to some extent, okay, these people are doing well. So just imagine that these people too, they resolve to buying, they go for they
Low
go for low
quality
quality ingredients because they
ingredients.
want to make more money. They use well water to cook their meals. On the long run, Nigerians buy this food and they are infected with this cholera. Why? Because cost of living is no longer affordable in Nigeria, and not even in a place like Lagos State that you are spending on transportation, spending on accommodation, spending on this responsibility and spending on that responsibility. So on the long run, you see that the masses are the ones suffering for this thing. And you highlighted the case of the government saying that they can't pay more than 62,000 naira for a federal worker. Definitely, I saw a story where the local government council, they said they cannot afford to pay that 62,000 naira. So imagine living in a place like Lagos where transportation is killing people back to back with 62,000 naira. I was deliberating with somebody over this, and she was saying that when she got a job, they had to pay her 70,000 naira, and she will be spending 3,000 naira on transportation. And let's say if she wants to eat once in a day, she will be spending 1,000 naira. That is approximately 4,000 naira in a day, multiplied by 6 days in a week that she will be working. The money is not even enough to sustain her for 2 weeks. Mass, she will spend the money for like 3 weeks. So what will be left for her? How will she save? So when won't Nigeria resolve to eating contaminated food? So we can see that beyond this thing that the Ministry of Health are saying, that contaminated water and contaminated food is the cause of this. Yes, we know and we acknowledge this. But then, if the government will not deal with the root cause of this, cost of living, there is hardship in the land. People are resolving to getting affordable things for what they want to eat. They are resolving to getting low quality so they can eat. Do you know that Nigerians make stew now with cucumber and dry pepper? And the best way to eat cucumber is when it is crunchy. When you've overcooked it, the cucumber is rich in vitamin C and vitamin E. By the time you cook it, it lose the vitamin C and vitamin E in the cucumber. Then what vitamin are you eating? Vitamin B9. Definitely not B9. There's no longer vitamin in that thing. So people are just going about their day on how to survive. And then the Ministry of Health are saying that the only solution to this is for people to come and take vaccine or to take drugs. The question is that, are they going to take this vaccine and drugs free of charge? That's another thing to look at. Are they going to give it to Nigerians free of charge? Are they going to give it to this? Because it is not only Lagos that is affected. Speaking for all the states that is affected, are they going to give it free of charge? And yet we are not even looking at rural areas that are not covered by the news. These people are dying every day, and the media is not covering some of these areas.
Sure.
So what do these Nigerians now do?
You see, about what to do. You see, to curb the situation currently, the help of the government is highly needed. Now, our water, sometimes you see people, and the masses too have a role to play, right? When you go to the waterways, you see people defecating inside the water. You see people doing all manner of things, inside the same water that where they will still fetch to cook. All right. Sometimes we are the architect of our own problem. One thing I want to say before I go to the side of the government is that, first of all, I always say that safety begins with you. All right. First of all, you must value yourself so much that you must care about yourself, that you are conscious of what you do. All right. Now, if something, because in as much as we are experiencing shege in the country, one still need to be alive. All right, one needs to be alive to be able to 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 be able to see how it's going to end. Of course, this thing is going to end, so one needs to be alive to see how it's going to end. All right, so it's important that in anything you are doing, you are conscious of how it's going to affect your health. They say health is wealth. God might have designed that your wealth will manifest in 2 years' time. You need to be alive to experience and enjoy that wealth when it comes. Okay, that is on our own side as an individual. Make sure that whatever you are doing, the government cannot be in your house to ensure that even if everything is made possible, available, you have a role to play as an individual to ensure that what you are eating is not contaminated. Sometimes you see people, they leave their food uncovered. Their leftover food, they leave it uncovered. Sometimes you see people, cooking food that they are selling for people in an environment that is not healthy. Sometimes you want to go and buy food, you know that where this food is being sold or is being prepared is an unhealthy environment. You
But
are
then,
going
but,
there.
but then we should also look at the fact that it is not everybody that can afford the big restaurants.
No, I'm not
It's not
referring
every
to.
Nigerian that
I
can.
I understand.
Okay,
I understand, but there are individuals who are naturally dirty,
of
and
course.
these people, even while they are practicing or they are into public services, they still manifest this dirtiness. All right. So, in as much as you are looking for where to cut costs, ensure that at least there are measures of safety in place in that place. Okay. Now, on the side of the government, it's quite unfortunate that this administration is so bent on things that are not the primary need of the people. They are so concerned about themselves. I've discovered, I was discussing with someone recently about the urgent and the urgent backup of both the senators and the representatives on ensuring that the purchase of new aircraft for the presidency. Not as if we don't have anyone on ground, all right. But this thing has to do with them. He receives immediate backups and the approvals. Now, this thing there are the government can take care of the major causes of this. Let people be able to have access to good food. Let the cost of things come down. Let what is why have we gotten to where we are today that people can no longer buy good food? Let them deal with it. All right, so that once people imagine buying a bag of water for 300 initially, like 500 can get you like five. When you buy from all these vehicles that say water, 500 I can get you like 4 bags of water or even 5 bags of water. Before now, there was a time that 500 I can buy you 6 bags of pure water.
Of course.
All right. So now, then what will warrant somebody going to drink well water? All right. Now it we discover that when they say when the going gets tough, tough people get going. That is what we are experiencing in Nigeria. Survival of the fittest. Water is water. Food is food. That is the point where people have found themselves because they say Beleno they talk with each other. Now that is what is playing out now. You see people just to survive on daily basis, they eat anything. Now, as an individual, you buy fruit from Aboki. You don't know the places he has gone to with those. Somebody is hawking, and you buy food from that person just because you are very hungry. You didn't wash it. It is not the role of the government or the government to wash the fruit for you. Right? These things, you don't know how many flies have perched on these fruits: carrot, cucumber, mango, apple, or anything. No matter how clean it looks, make sure you wash these things. So actually by so doing, both we and the government can help to curb this situation. Now, if we can have outbreak of cholera in a city like Lagos, what happened to some rural areas? What happened to the north? What happened to some areas where people are not even, concerned, and they are not even educated? We have some places where people are not even, enlightened. What happened there? All right. And we only talk about the people that were courageous enough to come to the hospitals. There are so many people suffering this thing currently in Nigeria that are not in the hospital, and they cannot count those who are not in the hospital. So it's a problem. And I believe that if the government should look into the health sector, look into the welfareism of the people, this thing shouldn't be happening in a time like this. How many years ago we suffered the outbreak of Ebola and what is it called? Coronavirus. All right. So if we begin to experience this thing back to back in Nigeria, it's affecting the population of the country, and it is not good for us. Our leaders can help us out.
All right, the issue of cholera has been attributed to lack of clean water, functional toilets, and waste management system. You see, I've always been of the opinion that no reason is I've always been of the opinion that no reason is justifiable enough for the action of people. At the same time, at the same time as we are passing fault to A, we should as well give fault to B. As much as the people are, maybe they have their faults in drinking water, in drinking waters that are not healthy, we should also trace it down to the root cause of this. If people can afford to buy bottled water for 15 naira, wouldn't they buy it? They would gladly buy it, and they would want to continue to do that. And I was speaking on the vaccine that the Ministry of Health are now talking about. Now, this vaccine, now I think so far I was somewhere where some health practitioner take came to. I was at a conference on Saturday, and some health practitioner were present, and they mentioned the price that they would be giving the cholera vaccine. And they mentioned that they were big for the sake of that training, they would be giving people discounts. And listening to the amounts they said they want to give the listening to the amount they said they want to give the vaccine and the discount they are giving, definitely an average man cannot even afford it. That's the truth. An average man cannot afford it. So this is where the government comes in. This thing is killing your people. This thing is causing, rendering your people handicapped. I mean, if someone has been stolen back to back, what really white to back for like 4 or 5 times, people do not have enough information. Do you know that even with the rate at which cholera is flying around in Lagos, there are still some environments that they do not know that cholera is flying around? So what measure is the government putting in place to ensure that they to ensure that the information goes around to the rural areas in Lagos, because it is not everybody that lives on the mainland. It is not everybody that is on the island. Like there are some people in Ibeju, there are some people in Ekpe, there are some people in like Ikorodu, the thick part of Ikorodu, that they are not even aware this thing is happening. I was having a conversation with someone and he was saying, is there cholera in Lagos? I don't know. So these are some of the things that the government can do to create awareness so that people can know what to do to prevent it. To do to prevent it, so that by the time and even by the time they what they can do, by the time they begin to notice symptoms of this cholera, by the time they start stooling uncontrollably back to back, we have been going to the toilet 3 or 4 times in a day, within few hours you are going back and forth and it is white too. What can be done to prevent it? What can you do? Should you go to a clinic, go to a pharmacy, or go to the hospital when you see that it is becoming unbearable? So, and I'm not sure that the Lagos state government is mainstream media that is talking about it. They should also put measures in place that local media, for this case of cholera, they can bring back gongs. Let gongs men go around to part of Lagos that they don't listen to the news, they don't listen to radio, they don't watch TV, ensuring that these people, information reach out to them that there's cholera outbreak in Lagos. Be careful of what you drink, be careful of what you eat. Make sure you drink clean water, make sure you boil your water before drinking, make sure you eat good meal and meal that are well cooked. And also, it is somebody that has money that will eat meal that are well cooked.
Sure.
It's a big, by the time you look at cost of gas, cost of kerosene, you will not want to cook beans with gas.
At all.
You will
Even
definitely want
personally,
to.
I can't even remember when last I ate beans.
Just
And beans,
imagine.
beans used to be my favorite. You know, beans is very rich.
Yeah.
You know, very rich, very proteinous. So I can't remember when last I have beans. I can't cook my beans
Of
because
course,
the
because
kind
by
of
the time you're looking at the money you used to buy your gas.
even the cost of gas is even higher than the cost of the beans. Right,
Exactly.
so I cannot use maybe like 2 kg to cook one cup of beans.
Mm.
Right, my beans has been in my talking about myself. Now there are so many people now that cannot even okay. For example, now we are in the this is Salah. It's a festive period. People are at home. There is no light.
Mm.
There is no life. So if all these things are put in place, you see that life will be easier for people. All right, life will be easier for people. I don't know why our government that promise of renewed hope are now renewed. They have renewed the hardship. This administration has made okay now. Our dear president said he was going to continue from where the former administration started. Now, under their former administration, we experienced so many pains and all that. And through the what we are experiencing now is continuation. The thing has increased. So I believe that if the government can really come in and play their part. Let it be that it is individuals that has failed in their own part. All right, they have a major role to play. With people having a conducive environment, people having you know, people being able to have access to good life. They have a role to play.
All right. I'm going to sum up this conversation with the fact that if you notice that you have been going to the toilet back to back for a certain number of time, and you're stooling whitery stool and all of that, please, for the sake of your health, first I would like that we be our brother's keeper. Ensure that you talk to people of cholera outbreak in this part of Lagos, in Sokoto, in Bauchi, Ebonyi State, in Lagos, and the major cases are in Lagos. So no one is excluded. You can be your brother's keeper by creating awareness that there's cholera outbreak. People should ensure to drink clean water, well cooked food, and ensure to eat healthy. And secondly, if you notice you've been going back to back to the toilet, please ensure you can have a subtle solution at home. You can do your own, have your own ORS even at home. Add your salt, a certain percentage of your salt and water, maybe a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, and and water. You can drink that to stop it for a while. If you notice it is becoming consistent, before you lose your strength, before you lose your vigor, please do well to go to the hospital, not a pharmacy, not a clinic. For the sake of your safety, for the sake of the safety of the people around you, do well to go to the hospital immediately. It is in the hospital that they can provide the real solution to cholera. And the government is talking about vaccine. This vaccine they are talking about is very expensive. Not every Nigerian will be able to afford this vaccine. There should be subsidy from the government so that everyone can have this vaccine. And this is a vaccine that when you take it, it will last you for a total for about 40 years, according to the health practitioners I listened to on Saturday. It will last you for a space of 40 years. So the government can ensure that they give subsidy on this vaccine. Imagine saving yourself from another outbreak after 40 years. At least you are proactive enough to give out subsidy for your people to be able to afford it. It will not only save the now, it will as well save the future. So this is all that we can take on this segment. As soon as we get back, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.